and Katie. I love words, and they were just fantastic. So it's So Saturday was errand day. Started out at Cub. Saturday I saw pretty crowded, so I'm waiting in line. I like to peruse the tabloids and the magazine covers. Interesting, but I'm getting a little bit weary of Harry and Meghan. Anybody else?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to move to Canada, move to Canada! Who gives a moose's ass? I mean, the only monarchs I really care about are orange little black spots. Okay? But then I see the cover of the Women's Day magazine, and I was struck by an article. It says, soup, as in S-O-U-P, soup off 18 pounds a week. What does it do, make your arm fall off? How can you lose 18 pounds? So anyhow, from there I'm on to IKEA. Now IKEA is the home of 5,000 different unassembled types of furniture and not one word of instruction. It's all diagrams in Swedish. But the thing that really bugs me about IKEA is you can't just run in, find the aisle you need, pick up your item, go out and pay for it, and you're gone. Because IKEA doesn't have aisles, does it? It has aisle. One aisle. Seaver's corn maze, indoors, through that whole 500-acre store. And once you start, you have to go past every single item in the store. I get what they're trying to do. But if you're halfway down and you have to go to the bathroom, you're in deep doo-doo. Now, I have a prostate the size of a porcupine. So sometimes I suddenly have to pee. And I'm a half a mile either direction. I'm like, oh man. But fortunately, IKEA sells toilets. I figure they asked for it. So I'm out from IKEA to Menards, because I got to get a pair of gloves. Well, actually, I only need a left glove because I have 8 right gloves at home. How does that happen? Why couldn't I lose an even number of them? And where do they go? Must be with the socks, you know. So anyhow, I just got to run in and get a pair of winter gloves. So I walk in, I look up at the signs, and they weren't helpful. I thought above the aisle said, you'd see gloves or mittens or winter wear or something like that. Not at all helpful, but they are very creative. So creative that I took photos. But I'll read it for those, okay? Toilets, power washers. Maybe you could find a bidet down that aisle. Furnace filters, snacks. I know heating equipment always makes me hungry. Kitchen appliances, dog treats. I got nothing. Showers, snow throwers. Now these two at least have something in common, the last 5 letters. But you don't want to mix them up. It's okay to walk naked into your shower, you don't want to step naked into your snow thrower. So of course I can't find the gloves, so I finally find an employee and ask her where winter gloves are. She goes, oh, they're right down that aisle between the plungers and the pogo sticks. Of course they are. I have a strong suspicion that the person who was in charge of laying out that store is a direct descendant of the drunken voyageur who laid out the streets of St. Paul. Okay. So, let's deal with the elephant in the room. I'm old. I noticed too. Okay? But a lot of my peeps are here tonight. They've noticed that the average age was up a couple of decades this month, so just want to thank them. So, a shout out to my friends! It's the only way they can hear. You have to understand what a sacrifice they mean. It's not just cold out, it's like 3 hours past our bedtime. So I'm really grateful. Alright. Now, I don't care, what other people do, but being old, I'm not a big fan of profanity. And I know it's unusual in comics, but I call myself the fuck-free comic. Okay. Now, there are a lot of bad things about being old, let me tell you. I mean, I can't even remember my 20s. But there are also some good things about getting old. Number one is that I, unlike you young people out there, I can no longer get early onset dementia. Dodged a bullet there. Okay. The second good thing about getting old the second good thing is silver sneakers. I never heard of it till I turned 65. You get on a Medicare supplement, you get free membership in any gym or fitness center. How great is that? It's a true story, I now belong to 3 different fitness centers. Triple the guilt for free. The third great thing about being old is that I, unlike you young people out there, I can no longer get early onset dementia. Now, my day job, I am a pastor. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't use a sign across to keep a pastor away. Anyhow. I have to hurry. When I'm doing open mics around in bars, people are like, bam, they hit the doors when I say I'm pastor. But I'm not one of those kind of pastors, okay? I'm not anti-Muslim, I'm not anti-woman, I'm not anti-immigrant, I'm not anti-gay. In fact, I testify to the state legislature in favor of same-sex marriage. In short, I try to follow Jesus, not Trump. Can I get an amen? 81% of white evangelical Christians voted for Donald Trump. That just fries my potatoes. I mean, what Bible are they reading? So it's doesn't happen very often, but sometimes I get into conversation with people who are anti all of those things that Jesus is for. And it doesn't get very far. And I try to cut it off pretty quickly. I say, look, you're not going to convince me, and I'm not going to convince you, so let's just agree to disagree, okay? You do things your way, and I'll do things God's way. Now, there's some things about being a pastor I just love, and one of them, besides the big money, is that I get to pick what goes on our electronic sign out front. And the church on a busy corner, thousands of people go by every day. So here are some recent ones. I'm trying to get people to well, you know what signs are for. So here's one of my favorites. We will treat you like family. Come anyway. We are a bunch of sinners and hypocrites. We always have room for one more. Lent, 50 Shades of Purple. Oh, we have some Lutherans here. Okay, that's good. That's great. I love Lutherans. I married 2 of them. Fool me once. Jesus had 2 dads, and he turned out okay. Got a few calls from the neighbors on that one. Forgive your enemies. It messes with their heads. Presbyterians build bridges, not walls. It's not funny, but it's nice, isn't it? Yeah. All right. So, love being a pastor. I remember years ago having a conversation with a bunch of my friends. We were talking about different vocations, and I said, I screw up so often that I'm so glad I'm not a doctor. Because at least when I mess up, nobody dies. My friend immediately responded, no, they just go to hell for eternity. I really hope there is a heaven. I mean, we've been in hell for the last 3 years. Okay? But what if there isn't an afterlife? What if when you're dead, you're just dead? Still beats watching Fox News. All right. Well, as mentioned, I recently published a book. It took me only 18 years. And people say, well, when is your next book coming out? And I said, I'm not going to live 18 more years. But anyhow, there's for sale back there. And a special show price tonight, $15. Usually $18. $15, 2 for $30. And my daughter got that eventually. And we take Venmo, Zelle, credit cards, checks, cash even, back there. And, no. No on the Bitcoin. Though, the true story, one of my friends is a pastor of church in St. Paul, and one of his parishioners invested in Bitcoin early on, and recently, true story, gave to the church $1.6 million. Wow. So maybe I will take Bitcoin. Okay. But one of my pastor friends about 10 years ago, he published his first book, and ever since then, whenever he's asked to lead public prayer, he starts like this. O thou who hast also written a book. We have any pet owners out there? Yeah. Dogs? Yeah. Cats? Yeah. Platypus? No. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Be the only one on the block. Anyhow, we have Ruby the Wonder Dog. And she's gotten us through a lot of tough times in the last few years, and it's just great. In the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, now for younger people that's a newspaper, used to actually come in paper, I mean it still does to our house, but anyhow. On Saturdays they list pet activities. And I love to read it because it's just always fascinating. So here's been in the last few weeks, it's read to dogs at the Humane Society, $10. I thought, cool, what a fun way to make $10. And then the light bulb slowly came on. Decided to go online and check to see which way that 10 is going. Discovered, no, I'm paying the 10. Not only that, they have a $15 one-time orientation fee. Orientation. Dog, chair, book, done. I mean, somebody at the Humane Society is just brilliant. But I got a deal for you. You can come to our house and read to Ruby for $5. And I'm going to give you and Ruby each a treat. So there you go. Now, Ruby, next time we get a dog, we've had 2 dogs and we've made the same mistake, is we're going to get a dog that does not shed. Because between the dog and me, there's hair everywhere. You know, it just is. I mean, you brush Ruby for 3 minutes, and you have enough hair to make an entirely new dog. You do that, and it makes no difference as how much she's gonna lose. It's a miracle. But losing hair, you know, in today's world, in the world of political correctness, and I don't really like that term because almost everything that critics say is politically correct is simply correct. Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know, we've stopped making fun of people that look a little different or have some sort of differently abled. I mean, the president hasn't stopped, but the rest of the world has stopped. But people still make fun of bald guys. Am I right? Here? Yeah. Yes. I know. I just don't get that. You know. My grandfather my paternal grandfather had a full head of hair when he died at 102. But you inherit your your hair from your mother's side, and both my grandfather and my mother were pretty bald. And so my grandfather, at the time he was 25, was, had lost most of his hair. For the last 50 years, he just had this little fringe around like Friar Tuck. So when he's about 75, he's going up to get a haircut, and he just lived 2 blocks from the barber. It was wintertime, and he bundled up, and he tromped through the snow, and went into the barber shop, and stomped his feet, and he said, "Hey, Jerry, do you mind if I leave my boots on?" The barber looked at him and said, "I don't care if you leave your hat on." True story. That is sad. So, like I said, people make fun, and I just say, give me your best shot. Because I look at it this way. I figure at birth, we're all given the same amount of hormones. And if some of you guys want to use yours for growing hair, that's your business. This is root beer. About, 10 or 15 years ago, I decided to quit drinking. I realized I just didn't need any help being stupid. I'm a man. I got stupid down cold. I'm killing it. Right, ladies?
Yep.
Okay? You gotta understand, we're doing the best we can with what we've got, which isn't that much, really. Now, my wife she just outshines me in almost every way, as my so-called friends remind me on a weekly basis. How did you get her? After 31 years, they still can't believe it. My wife is very bright and compassionate, caring, beautiful, supportive. Well, she's not here tonight. She said, "You really want me to come?" I said, "No, I can't use that joke." She hasn't been to any of them. She has no idea what I'm doing, actually. But there is one area in which I outshine my dear wife, and that is I have better taste than she does. Think about it. I chose her. She chose me. And she says, I just can't argue with that. So our son is 30. And his lovely girlfriend that we like very much, she just turned 21, which means she's only a little bit more mature than he is. They're pretty evenly suited there. So, I forgot to tell you one of my favorite pastor stories. The story is told about a pastor, long married pastor and wife. And one Monday morning he says to his wife, this coming Sunday, I think I'm going to preach about sex. She goes, "Oh, no. No, that's not a good idea. Please don't." "All right. Thank you very much." He thinks for a bit and says, "Well, in that case, I think I'll preach about sailing." Sailing, she thinks to herself. What has gotten into him? But anyhow, it's better than preaching about sex. Come Sunday morning, she wakes up, she's got a fever and coughing and cold, and she says, "I'm not going to make it to church today." And he says, "Oh, you just stay home and get well." He's on the drive to church, he thinks, wait a minute, if she's not going to be there, I think I will preach about sex. She doesn't need to know. So Wednesday, she feels well enough to do the grocery shopping, and she's in the store. And a couple of the old ladies from her church come rushing up and say, "Oh, we're so glad you're feeling better. We were just talking about what a great sermon that was. It's too bad you would miss it. We think it's one of the best sermons your husband has ever preached." And the wife goes, "Really? Well, I don't know why he thinks he's such an expert on it. I mean, he's only tried it twice. And he threw up both times." All right, final story. My kids now are in their 23 to 30, and they're wonderful people, but grown kids frankly, are boring. Little kids are so great. I could go on and on about that, but just when our kids were maybe about 3, 7, and 9, it was a beautiful summer evening. We had just finished supper, and they went out to play in the backyard. Kids used to do that. And a bunch of the neighborhood kids came over too. It's all these kids out there laughing and running around and playing and having fun. And I'm cleaning up the dishes after supper, put them in the dishwasher. I'm keeping an eye out once in a while in the window over the sink. And suddenly I see they're all kind of gathered together in a clump. And I think, what are they doing? I look out there. Oh, look at that. One of the neighbor's cats must have had kittens. Because they're all playing with these cute, adorable little kitties. And I keep working on the dishes. And I look out again and wait a minute. Those are not black and white kitties. Those are baby skunks. So, always calm in an emergency. I quietly open the window. Run, children, run! And they look around in terror. And then they each pick up a skunk and ran. I'm out of here too.